listening to the Pillaging Podcast, companion podcast to PillagingJustForFun.com. That's PJ4F.com, the only Raider fan site made by Raider fans for Raider fans. Tune in every week on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher Radio. Call in and give us your takes anytime at 408-909-PJFF. Brought to you by Creative Media Design Services. Check them out at creativemediamonterey.com. Hey, yo, it's time to pillage another podcast. I'm your host, Kenny Stapler. Yo, Che, talk to me.
What's up, Kenny? How you doing, man?
I'm doing okay. I'm battling these allergies.
I feel you on that.
Like, you know, everybody, I know people that never had allergies before telling me they're sick. I'm like, nah.
This guy right here.
Yeah.
This guy. Never before.
It's allergies. I was in the ER on Sunday because of sinus pain, which is also why we didn't record last Thursday. Both my sinus pain and Che's allergies just coming down like an avalanche. So we're struggling, but we pulled it together, and we're here today to give you another show. So apologies for not being around last week, but we're here. In all fairness, there wasn't a whole lot of news last week, really. It was a pretty slow week.
Pretty quiet.
But we're going to get into it this week. We're going to talk about the Derek Carr contract situation, or possibly lack of a situation. And we're going to talk a little bit about contracts in general and compare and contrast and see if we can't, find out, put our finger on where about he's going to land. When we come back from the great break, we'll talk about the Conley contract. He's our first round pick and where we can expect him to fall as far as where he's going to get paid. And then we're going to talk about the holes we have left on this roster and who we can pick up in this second wave, this post-draft wave of free agency when players get ejected from their teams. Reggie Mack about to go dumpster diving again. One of the most resourceful, frugal GMs in the league. Slow moving, very deliberate. You know, the tortoise wins the race, as they say. And we'll talk about who's out there and who we can get to possibly fill some of these holes. And we'll talk about what those holes are too. So let's get right into it. I think what really brings up the Derek Carr conversation is an article that was written by known Raider hater Michael Silver. He writes for Yahoo Sports. Is that right?
I don't know who he writes for, man.
I believe so. He did at one time. If he doesn't now, I didn't even know Yahoo was still around.
I actually saw the article on NFL.com.
NFL.com?
Yeah, I saw the article there, but I don't know if it was moved from wherever else he wrote it, but yeah.
In my eyes, Michael Silver will always be a Yahoo Sports writer. NFL.com should have maybe passed on him. I expected him maybe to sign on with AskJeeves.com or AltaVistaSports.net. I think my dad uses those search engines. I'm just kidding, Dad. I know you're listening. The younger generation will get that joke. That one maybe flies over your head. Yahoo, you need to shut it down. Anyway, so let's get into it. Derek Carr, how much do we expect to pay this guy? And is this situation really the situation that Silver explained it to be, that he's frustrated and it's not getting done and he wants it over with? What are your thoughts on that? I don't really feel like that lines up, but I mean, am I being optimistic?
I think dude's reaching. That's my personal opinion. Dude's reaching. There's nothing to tell. There's no story out there, and dude's reaching for something because he needs to pay bills this month, and he's got to get a check in, so he's got to get something published, right?
Is it safe to say he's reaching around?
He might be. You might be reaching around, man.
There's going to be some awkward conversations after this podcast with dads that are listening with their kids. And for that, I apologize. But, you know, it's good. It's growth. You need to have these conversations. We live in a new era.
Maturity, man.
Yeah, maturity, right? It's time to bring these kids up to a new level.
Exactly.
So the Derek Carr contract situation is not a situation, right?
I don't think so. I mean, there's nothing that we've seen from Derek Carr himself or from his actual agent that would tell us that there is an issue. We got some guy reporting that some unknown sources, right? It's always the unknown sources that have these reasons why these players are unhappy and all this kind of crap. But I don't buy it. Yeah,
I think his unknown source, probably the dude he was talking to, where he's grabbing coffee at 7-Eleven in the morning.
He was reaching around.
He was reaching around and on his unknown source. who broke this story. It came out yesterday. There was a statement yesterday. Reggie released a statement saying that there's no situation, and he wants to make Carr a Raider for life. I know Carr wants to be a Raider for life.
Carr wants to be a Raider for life, man. He said it himself, right? I'm a Raider for life.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of it getting done, dude. And we all know, like I said, we know he's getting paid. Carr knows he's getting paid. Reggie knows he's getting paid. It's just a matter of time.
It's that new car money.
That new car money.
He just bought a new car.
That new car smell.
And every time I think about it, I get a little bit anxiety because that first payment hasn't come yet. Yeah, but you got to do what you got to do. So Derek Carr, how much can we expect him to get paid? What are some of the other guys that are in his class or maybe from his era? Just what are quarterbacks getting paid this year? You got a list over there.
I got a list.
You got some highlighter.
I got some highlighter on some contracts that I don't necessarily agree with, but
all right,
we can talk about that too.
Well, let's start at the top. Who's the highest paid quarterback in the league right now?
So going into 2017, we got Andrew Luck, which I don't think is much of a surprise, right?
No.
Not much of a surprise there.
No.
He's at $594,000 annually. We're talking about annual contracts right here. So
$24.5 million a year to get his ass kicked on a weekly basis.
That's pretty good money to get your ass kicked on a weekly basis.
I would take that.
I would take that too, man. I would be like, hey, line me up behind that crappy line you got over there. I'll take that hit.
Yeah. So Andrew Luck. So not a shocker. Not a shocker. He's yet to really come in to that money as far as showing up on the field. There's no doubt he's a smart quarterback. He's a good quarterback. Just doesn't have the team around him. So we're not seeing that translate yet because they haven't put the team around him. But I'm not mad at that. Who's number 2 on your list?
Number 2, Drew Brees, man. Come on, I'm not surprised by that either. We got 24.25. Yeah,
that's not
hey,
bad.
Man, I mean, yeah. How many years was he in San Diego? Unappreciated. They let him go. Yeah. Dude came out of the woodworks, had a great season, then took him to the Super Bowl. So, yeah, you got to pay that dude, right?
Imagine the alternate storyline there, and Drew stays in San Diego, and Phillip Rivers is the New Orleans Saint. On one hand, I'm happy because I think the Rivers doesn't elevate the Saints at all, and I don't like Phillip Rivers, but I don't want to see Drew Brees. Well, I keep saying San Diego, L.A.
Chargers.
Yeah, he would give us problems.
Does anybody else have a problem with the fact that their abbreviated name is LAC, which is very familiar with LA Clippers, who have been known for being very shitty for many a year until recently, where all the Clipper fans came out of the woodwork. I just find it funny. Yeah. I find it hilarious that they share that in relation.
And both of them are second-rate teams in their market.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, maybe that's a stretch for the Chargers. You could say that they're better than the Rams, but is it possible that they're both second-rate teams in their market?
It is very possible.
There's only one team.
We all know what the LA team is, even though it doesn't exist there. It doesn't live there.
Yeah. It's the Raiders.
There you go.
Worldwide. As much as it hurts me to say that, hey, growing up, I was an LA Raider fan because that was the time. That's what I was living. So,
do you remember the times?
I remember the time. All right. So number 2, we're not mad at that. Number 3, I see some highlighter there.
There's some highlighter there.
Surprising.
And you know what? We were talking about it earlier. Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is he's doing his thing. He's been doing his thing recently. I'm not mad at him, right? I don't think like he's undeserving of having of having a payday, but he's currently at 23.9 for right around there, and that's because he's franchised, right? Mm-hmm. Let's get that straight. He doesn't have a contract yet, which is what we've seen all last year. Him being angry with the owner, showing him up and after games and crap like that. But
yeah,
he's at 23.9, man. He's by wage, he's number 3 quarterback in the NFL, and I think we can all agree that he's not the number 3 quarterback in the NFL.
No, top 10. Right? I'd say top 10.
I'll put him there, maybe close, right? Yeah. Right on the edge, right there.
I like Kirk Cousins. He's a gamer.
He is. He is. He's got a winner's mentality. I'll say that.
He's kind of like Gannon-esque in that way, sort of scrappy dude. He's not Rich Gannon. He doesn't have the smarts, but you know what I'm
I like
saying.
that comparison, but I'm pretty sure you're gonna get some backlash for that.
I'm definitely gonna get backlash.
You know how Gannon is, man. Gannon's our boy, man. He goes down in infamy with us, bro.
I was reaching around on that one. I don't know what I'm trying to say with that. He doesn't have one particular skill set that jumps off the page, but he can get the job done. He's a gamer in that regard. I wouldn't compare him as far as skill wise to Gannon, but where he's at in his career right now, it can go either way. I like Cousins. I like watching him play. He's got a lot of heart. Again, not the third best quarterback in the league. Definitely overpaid. Mm-hmm. He's going nowhere in Washington, but we're going further down the list. Who else you got?
So at number 4, we have Joe Flacco, which I almost put highlighter on that one just because I haven't seen much out of him. I guess you can make the argument that he doesn't have much of a team around him either,
right?
As far as the offensive side of the ball goes.
Right. He did win a Super Bowl.
He did win a Super Bowl, so that's where I can that's why I left the highlighter off, right?
Joe Flacco won a Super Bowl throwing balls over his shoulder, like behind, like he's a lucky quarterback. How many times have you seen Flacco scramble 15 yards backwards and like connect for a first down?
Pretty often, because that's how bad his line is, right? But I think that we can all agree that the success of his team has not been on the offensive side of the ball. It's the defensive side of the ball that carries that team. Yeah. And that's why they've gotten to the promised land, two times in the 2000s, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And he is better than Trent Dilfer. We can agree on that.
Well, yes, yeah. By far, right?
Trent Dilfer, get off my television. He's on every single channel now. I was watching Food Network and Trent Dilfer was on there as a judge. I was like, this guy. I bought my new car from Trent Dilfer. I can't get away from this guy.
He's on that commercial, right? Did I just see him on a commercial? Oh, man.
If you live in the Bay Area, you see Trent Dilfer on your television quite a bit. I've even seen him breaking down Raider games. Out of here, Trent Dilfer.
That's not good. Don't do that.
So number 5 on your list, and then we could jump around after that if we want to. But who's number 5?
Number 5 is Aaron Rodgers, man. Aaron Rodgers. You would think he'd be number 3, right? Somewhere in there in the top 3.
Well, when did he sign that contract? That was.
I'm not sure when he signed that contract.
That might have something to do with it.
It might be. Yeah, and I think that goes for some of the other guys that were on this list, right? Mm-hmm. They signed their contract a few years back, and that's the reason why they're not as far up.
Right.
But Aaron Rodgers at 22, even. Yeah,
it's a good number.
It's a good number. So I'm not mad at that. Like I said, like we were talking about earlier, I'll take some sacks for that. That's all good. I'll take a hit here. I'll get some concussions. That's all good. $22 million. It'll pay for those injuries.
Aaron Rodgers deserves every penny of that money. Who else on your list? We don't necessarily have to go in order from here. That was our top 5, right? Just to recap.
Those are the top 5.
Luck, Breeze, Cousins, Flacco ahead of Aaron Rodgers. Who else jumps off the list at you, whether they're deserving or have no idea how they're making that much money?
The biggest thing that jumps off the page for me is the number 14 paid. And you know what? Let me correct this real quick. This isn't just the highest paid quarterbacks. This is the highest paid players in the NFL.
Oh, wow.
In 2017. This isn't a list of the highest paid quarterbacks, even though obviously the majority of them are going to be quarterbacks because that's who gets paid.
Yeah.
But number 14 in the NFL is your boy. No, I lie. It's nobody's boy. Ryan Tannehill out of Miami.
How much is he making?
Making $19.25 million.
Wow, that's Brock Osweiler money.
Right, and he's highlighted too, just a little bit further down the list, a couple slots down. Ryan but 19.25. What on what there? Earth, man? Like what have we seen out of Ryan Tannehill that? Yeah.
The day he was drafted, you knew he was not going to be the guy.
Just say his name. That sounds garbage already, right? Come on now.
Is there anybody that believes in Ryan Tannehill? The guy signing those checks, I don't even think believes in Ryan Tannehill anymore.
Crickets. There's crickets in that office right now if they're listening to this podcast.
Yeah, they're like, Ryan Tannehill. Who's 13th on your list? Because there's a name that hasn't been mentioned yet.
13th on my list, and that's who I was gonna say also is Mr. Tom Brady. Right, 13th. He's the 13th highest paid NFL player, but he's also the 13th highest paid quarterback in 2017.
Contract's a little bit deflated, would you say?
Deflate? Yeah, that's all right. That's a pretty good description.
So as we know, Tom has taken pay cuts for the benefit of his team. So
Which is admirable, right?
it's admirable. This is like the only admirable thing about Tom Brady.
That's it. I hate that guy.
I hate Tom Brady. I don't even like that name. I don't even like the Brady Bunch. You know? I'm just going to start calling him Thomas Brady because I think that, I don't know.
Uncle Tom.
If your name's Thomas, all apologies. Uncle Tom Brady. Wow, dude, you just went there. Wow. Somehow that makes sense. I don't know. It doesn't make any sense, but somehow it makes sense.
It makes sense. It doesn't make sense, but it makes sense.
Anybody else we should talk about on this list? Anyone else we need to pile on? Or
I mean, you mentioned him. I don't think we need to mention him any further. But your boy Brock Osweiler is on there at 16. He's making 18 mil, and who knows if he's even gonna have a job. I mean, he might just get paid and be sitting on his couch at home. So it is what it is. But there's a lot of guys that are getting paid pretty good money without anything to back it up. Right. I think that's the point, right? And when we're talking about our boy, there's a lot to back up there.
There is certainly
right? a lot to back up there.
Which leads us to believe that Derek Carr is going to get paid.
Oh, he's getting paid.
So let's jump right back up to the top of that list. And what was the dollar amount there?
$24,594,000 for Andrew Luck in 2017.
It's $24.5 million for Luck. So, Carr checked in last year's top 5 quarterback. You just killer touchdown to interception ratio. Yep. I think he only took 16 sacks last year. One of them obviously devastating. So if you had to guess how much money this guy is going to make, also keeping in mind that they're going to want to sew him up for life. They want to give him a career contract, which I think I don't know if there's a cap on how many years, but I think we were guessing probably around 6 years.
I'm thinking 6 years. I think there's at least a minimum there, right? Of 6 years. If you're talking about the franchise, the face of your franchise, and let's be real, that's what he is. I think we can all agree at this point, that he's the face of our franchise. He's the face of our franchise. So,
absolutely.
Yeah.
He's the guy. He needs to get paid. So if Luck's making 24.5, and we're going to factor in inflation and the fact that Carr is maybe destined to be the best quarterback in the league here in a couple years, we hope. He's got the tools, certainly, if not the best. Again, he's going to stay in that top 5. Would it be out of line to say he gets somewhere around $28 million?
I don't think that's out of line.
Yeah. 25.
I think if we're talking about a long-term contract, we're talking about the long-term, 6 years. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw something in the 150 million
total
range.
contract money.
Total contract money, right? That's at a 25 million a clip, right? That's and we were talking about it. He's looking to backload that, right?
Yeah, because he wants that tax-free Vegas money.
He wants that tax-free Vegas money, man. I ain't mad at that.
And so that kind of works against Reggie's normal strategy of front-loading contracts. But to be fair, he front-loads a lot of guys that he's not sure about, so we can cut bait and it won't hurt us. Carr's definitely not that guy. Knock on particle board, he doesn't get injured. There'd probably be clauses in there to safeguard us against something like that. So I said 28. That's probably a huge jump. It's safe to say they're going to try to make this guy the highest paid player in the league.
I think so.
You don't have to stretch to another $4 million. So yeah, I'd say somewhere between 25 and maybe 26.5 mil at the most as a stretch.
That sounds pretty reasonable to me, man.
Yeah. I wish I was a cap wizard and I could break this down for you guys and tell you how that's going to hurt us down the road. But it's just safe to say that we're going to have to play cap Tetris down the line.
Definitely.
Because not only is there him, but there's Gabe Jackson, there's Khalil Mack, there's Amari Cooper, and the list hopefully continues to go on.
And the beat goes on. Yeah, there you go.
So that's obviously going to get done this year. I saw that they extended Mack, right? Or they hit the clause on him, so they're going to postpone Mack's contract.
Postponing that, yeah.
So there was some talk last year that they would try to get both of them done this year.
But I think the talk started to change a little bit more after the draft. They were talking about shoring up Carr first, then extending Gabe, and then looking at Mac maybe the following year. So yeah.
It's going to fall like dominoes, right, over the next 3 years. I mean, we got to do what we got to do to pay the guy. Luckily, we do have the resourceful GM. We can get the complimentary talent, usually at a pretty decent cost. Reggie's not one to sign out of whack contracts now that he's really gotten comfortable in his position. So, Derek Carr looking at probably somewhere close to $26 million realistically, 26 mil.
I think that's good, and I'm not mad at that, man. Get that money, man.
Yeah,
he deserves it. Right? We've seen nothing but improvement every single year. So, I mean, why even hate on that? Yeah. I ain't mad at that.
I'm not either. What I'm most concerned about is length of the contract. The longer, the better for this guy.
Yeah.
We don't need him getting away from us. As long as Derek Carr is in Oakland, is also the length I feel of our success window. Most definitely. Because he's driving.
We want this guy playing into his 40s, bro.
Yeah.
That's just the truth, right? We want somebody playing into their 40s. A Manning, a Brady type of guy, right? We want them there for the long haul. Yeah.
And not going to the Broncos.
Exactly. Not going anywhere.
So, anything else we want to say about Derek Carr before we get out of here? This short segment before the break.
Oh, man. He's great.
Pay the man.
Fantastic. Pay him. Give him his money, man.
Give him that car money.
Give him that money.
Hopefully we get a low APR on that car. And yeah. Speaking of which, getting paid, we got to get out of here and take our break and get paid from our sponsors, which we only have one, and they're not paying us. I already mentioned them. CreativeMediaMonterey.com. Not only those guys really good friends of mine for a long time, but just extremely creative. If you're looking for graphic design, T-shirt printing, anything at all like that, go see them. Not only are they going to give you quality work at a good price, but they can help you with design. They can do a lot for you over there. My man Tony over there is just an incredible artist. Him and Steve are both holding it down. Just great people to work with. They'll work with you. They do a lot of different types of promotions. Just really check them out. And again, if you're not even looking for that stuff, I encourage you go to the website and at least check out the artwork on there because it's cool. I mean, I don't know what to tell you. It's cool. It's something I think that a lot of people can really vibe with. So again, CreativeMediaMonterey.com. That's our sponsor. We're working on another sponsor, hopefully to get you guys some merchandise and some gear. Also, we got some Pillaging Podcast, PillagingJustForFun.com merchandise coming at you this off season. Looking at probably some T-shirts from Creative Media. I'm working with them right now, and some coffee mugs. Maybe barbecue apron.
There you go.
Some stickers, just some all around swag, so you can show off your pillaging fandom and your support for the Raiders. So, anything you want to say before we get out of here for the break?
Oh man, let's just take that break, man, and then come back with that free agent.
Ooh, free agency, second wave coming around. So we'll catch you guys on the other side. Go Raiders. We out here. You're listening to the Pillaging Podcast, companion podcast to PillagingJustForFun.com, the only Raider fan site made by Raider fans for Raider fans, featuring fan-submitted articles and the most lively Raider Nation conversation on the internet. Follow us on Twitter @PillageJustForFun. That's @PillageJust4Fun. Also, tune in every Tuesday on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher Radio.
Hello, Kenny. This is Raider Cat Dave Friskies. You may have made an error in judgment by tossing me for 90 days. I am building a juggernaut on the discus at the Raider blog in Nevada. You may be looking at an LBO or a hostile takeover. I'm not sure. But I'm coming back. with a vengeance. Ciao. Raiders forever.
Oh, this is the Raiders blog. I was calling to talk about our president and savior, Donald Trump. I guess I'll go look for that blog somewhere else.
What up, Kenny and y'all? It's Flunker Hall of Fame. I'm just living through the doldrums of the off season. I wish there was something exciting happening, like signing Carr. Do it, Reggie.
All right, and we're back. Just want to give a couple shameless plugs here. First of all, I had somebody contact me this week, and I get contacted about this here and there. The song at the end of the podcast is called Gone, and it's by a band called Cosmic Dance Band. They're classic rock band. They got a bluesy touch to them. They're from the South Bay, and the band is actually fronted by one of our community members. He goes by Silver and Black 666. I encourage you to go to their website and check out their music, cosmicdanceband.com, or you could just put them into your Google search and it'll come up. All their music's on the website. They have good streaming quality, just really good all-around music. I don't care what generation you're in. This is the kind of music I feel like anybody can vibe to. Classic rock's kind of like a universal language in music.
Oh, yeah.
It's good stuff, right? And then what you hear at the beginning of that, something I whipped up with a friend of mine a long time ago, was funky. We go by the Needle Droppers, just kind of a little side project. It's me and my best friend. And the sounds you hear in the interlude, that's me. I go by Nos the Rats. You can search me. It's spelled just like it sounds. Good luck with that. Check out my album. It's on Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, everything. It's called Something Massive. We're on SoundCloud too. You can check that out. I got another project coming out later this year as well, and we'll talk about that when it drops. But anyways, I don't talk about me much, but there it is. So let's move forward. Let's talk a little bit more about contracts. We got to talk about Gary and Conley. We're not going to talk about all of our rookie contracts, but he's a first round pick, so he gets the spotlight. We're going to try to, he hasn't signed yet, but we're going to try to guess where about he's coming in. So we were talking before the podcast, and the number that you had, what was the number you had?
It was about 9.7. 9.7 with about a 5.8 signing bonus. Mm-hmm. And that was just based off of the reports that I had seen on some of the guys that had been signed above him and been signed below him. But yeah, I don't know if those numbers are consistent with everything else.
So I'm looking right now. The guys that are close to Conley haven't signed yet. I'm talking about the guy picked above him and just below him. Right. Evan Ingram above him, who signed with the New York Giants, and Jabril Peppers, safety coming out of Michigan, who signed with Cleveland. Those guys haven't signed yet. The guy nearest to Conley is Gerard Davis, obviously picked up by Detroit, inside linebacker out of Florida, a guy that I liked in the draft. Was pretty disappointed to see him get picked.
Both of us.
He signed for 10.9, so $11 million. We'll call it. His signing bonus is 6.1. Not far off where you're saying. I mean, it's a couple mil, but he's dropped a little bit higher. His cap hit this year is going to be about $2 million, and just below Conley, all the way down in the 26th slot, is Takaris McKinley, a defensive end out of UCLA, signed with Atlanta. Obviously, that pick acquired from Seattle, who was quite active in this draft. Not quite as active as San Francisco, but they did move around. He signed for 10.2 mil. So where we had him at about 9.7 is a little bit lower than that. McKinley's signing bonus 5.5, which is what you called, would be right on the nose. And I could see Conley probably coming in close to that. I think the signing bonus is probably going to be right around 5.5.
Right.
But I'm seeing him projected here on Spot Track as about $10.4 million with a $5.7 million signing bonus. Now, there's a wild card at play here. There's a caveat that could impact that. As we all know, it's the allegations. Mm-hmm. Do you think that weighs heavily on his signing, where he falls, where he comes in at? I mean, how big of a hit do you think he's going to take because of those allegations?
Well, I think it does. I think it can have an effect on what he actually gets paid and what Reggie decides is, reasonable, considering they take all the risk, right? They're the ones taking all the risk with the allegations. But I think you mentioned it before, is that he's already taken a pretty big hit, considering where he should have gone in the draft
Yeah.
with those allegations.
Yeah, he could have been top 5, top 10.
Easily, and I think that's where everybody had him projected until that came out, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, there's a big difference between the top 5 and where he landed.
Let's see where the number 5, Corey Davis, wide receiver out of Western Michigan, signed with Tennessee. Yeah, he's clocking in at $25.3 million.
Exactly.
So he's already taken, arguably about a $15 million hit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I mean, it all depends on what Reggie feels is fair, right? I think it's possible that maybe he does drop down to that 9.7 range, and they say, hey, listen, maybe there's some incentives, maybe there's something that they can come to an agreement on, since we are still taking the risk, since there isn't anything that's been cleared just yet. Yeah, I wouldn't say that's unreasonable, but like I said, he's already taken a pretty big hit because he should have gone earlier in the draft. Yeah.
So let's call it 10 mil for now.
Yeah, I think
which
that's
is
fair.
Not too far off of your previous estimate. So let's say that. I mean, he may get to 10.5. Hopefully, he's cleared of all this before ink hits the paper. I mean, the one bonus is that he did fall to us. He's the number 2 corner in the draft. Corners went early and often in this draft.
Right.
He would not have fallen to us had that not have happened. And Gerard Davis would have been off the board. Who knows who we take right there? Is it Jabril Peppers? Do we take TJ Watt? Is it Reuben Foster? Who knows what happens right there?
Right.
It was a wild draft, right? So, yeah, these allegations, man, it's tough because you never know if they're real or not. And there's people that are out there gunning for these guys because they know they're about to fall into some money. And, I'm not saying that he's innocent, but there's a chance that he's innocent, right? Until proven guilty, at least. And
well, he's innocent until proven guilty, right? So let's not say there's a chance that he's innocent. Let's just say there's a chance that he's guilty.
I like that.
Right? Let's say that, because he's not guilty until it's been proven.
Yeah.
And that's nothing against nobody, but that's just the way it should be, right? That's the law.
And I got a good feeling about it. Reggie's a prudent guy. Again, I already mentioned in the first segment, slow is his pace, diligent. So if he feels good about it, I feel good about it.
Yeah.
You feel good about it.
I feel good about it. I think I don't think he takes the risk unless he absolutely is inside in his heart, right? Says, yeah, this is going to turn out well.
Especially with the history of our franchise and those types of allegations, we stay away from that. Check out the Tracy Blinikoff Foundation. That'll tell you everything you need to know, and make a donation. Fred Blinikoff's been holding it down for a long time, and God bless him for doing that. There's not a lot of NFL teams that have done that, and it wasn't until recently with the Ray Rice situation the NFL even started commenting on that. We've been on that train for a very long time. So a lot of things are said about Raiders and what a Raider is and the Raider organization and Raider fans. But the bottom line is we're a classy organization. Yeah. I really do feel like that. Here being in the Bay, there's a lot of barbs that are thrown back and forth between the Niner fans and the Raider fans. Niner fans have always said, they're the class of the NFL. But I think we've seen in the last 10 years, that's not true.
That's not the truth.
And anybody that knew anything during the DeBartolo era knew that they were breaking the rules back then too.
Exactly.
That's a grimy organization. Don't let the gold pants fool you. Okay? And anybody that wears gold pants, butterscotch pants, suspect.
Suspect. At least, right? They're just at least a little bit suspect.
And those aren't allegations. Those are facts. Fact.
Go out wearing some butterscotch pants right now and tell me what happens. Tell me you don't get some crazy looks. Tell me. You're a liar. You're a liar. I call you a liar.
That's what forced Alden Smith into substance abuse. I'm certain of it. All right, it was a bad joke. So moving on from the Conley contract, wishing him the best. I hope he gets paid. I hope he plays. I hope he's innocent. I hope everything kind of sheds off of that dude and he has a good career. But let's move on to free agency. We had the first round of free agency happens right away. Big splash signings happened. And we go into the draft, and then now we have players going to be jettisoned as teams make room for the new talent that comes in. And there's going to be some dumpster diving. We know Reggie's good at that. We got David Amerson like that. We got
put on your snorkel, man. Put on your snorkel.
Dig deep. Roll your sleeves up. Pull your pant legs up. Get in there. Get dirty. So I think that there's some bargains to be found, but let's concentrate on one glaring hole in our team. What's the biggest hole that you see on this roster right now?
I think we're all in agreement that the linebacker position is still the biggest hole, man. Yes, we drafted some people, but it's the biggest hole. I think without question, right? Until we have somebody that we're like, yeah, that's our guy. Yeah. That's our hole right there, right?
Yeah, and we'll see what Markel Lee becomes. And for his sake, I hope he does get the starting job. I hope he's good enough to get the starting job.
I hope so too.
I mean.
That would be amazing. If he does come out day one, he's the starter and proves everybody wrong, I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Call me a fool. I don't care.
So I know Reggie and Jack, they like their guys. We do actually have a lot of linebackers on the team right now. That's just nobody that wows you, nobody that gives you confidence, which makes us look thin and feel thin at that position, because you want a guy that's going to be an impact player. Unfortunately, in free agency, all those players are gone. Yeah. When you're talking about impact players. So what we're looking at now is serviceable players.
Yep.
I have a really short list. I'm looking at the list of available linebackers right now, and it's actually quite long. A lot of the early wave of free agency was spent on linebackers. You had guys like Dante Hightower, Zach Brown. Those guys are gone, right? Julius Peppers, gone. Well, he's 37 years old, but still, this is a name. I'm throwing it out there. Right. He's gone, right? You got a guy like John Bostic, which I know some people were high on. He's signed already with Indianapolis. His contract's yet to be released, but he's signed. So I'm going down the list. I'm seeing some names that jump out at me, but these guys are all over the hill. I don't think we take a flyer on DeMarcus Ware. Well, he retired. My bad. I just saw the name and I said it. But DeQuell Jackson, 33 years old, pass. Elvis Dumerville, 33 years old, pass. Guy we were connected to last year, Ray Maualuga, inside linebacker out of Cincinnati. I believe he had some injury concerns. Slower dude, not a Pro Bowler.
He's not. Yeah.
30 years old. I don't think you take that guy.
He wasn't he the guy that everyone went like, wait, is that what's his name from Pittsburgh for a split second, just because the hair was hanging out, flying around, and then you're like, no, that's not him.
No, that's not him.
That's not him.
Akeem Dent's out there out of Houston at 29. I mean, I don't know. I'm just going down this list, and the two names that really jump out at me, besides Rolando McClain and C.O. Moore,
for the wrong reasons, for all the wrong reasons.
I mean, you got Darren Bates floating out there. Maybe we bring him back. He's 26 years old. He's yet to prove anything. He's kind of just be another body thrown into the mix. But you got Perry Riley, which I know a lot of fans want him back, and he hasn't been signed. You got to figure he's probably on speed dial, right?
Yeah, send by the phone.
And we found him in the dumpster last year.
Yes, we did.
Came off the couch, started 11 games. He graded out really well. Again, serviceable, not a highlight dude, but he held it down in the middle.
Yeah.
And the guy that I like actually coming out of San Francisco is Gerald Hodges, who's, I believe he's 26 years old. So he's got youth on his side.
And desperate to get out of those butterscotch pants.
Desperate to take those butterscotch pants off. Yeah, real quick. Yeah, he's 26 years old. He's got 4 years in the league. He started 12 games last year. He had 84 tackles, 53 solo tackles. So the guy could tackle. He had 3 sacks. Not bad for inside linebacker position. 1 forced fumble, 2 picks. I mean, I like those numbers.
Yeah.
I say plug him in.
I mean, it's an improvement, right? If we're comparing.
Definitely an improvement.
Yeah.
I'm not seeing right off the bat. Okay, here we go. What he was making last year. He made 1.6 mil last year with the Niners. The year before that, he was making $137,000. So there's a chance you pick this guy up for a bargain, maybe throw 1.2 at him. Sign him for maybe 2 years.
Lowball him and then work your way up as far as you are willing to go. I'm not mad at that. And
if you're looking for more of a bargain, you got, again, Perry Riley, who last year, I think he made somewhere around $587,000. I think that's like the league minimum. Mm-hmm. Yeah, $581,000. Not the minimum. I think, I don't know, could be wrong on that. The number fluctuates. But yeah, $500,000. That's bargain basement right there. Mm-hmm. Let's look at his numbers really quick. He didn't quite have the impact that Hodges had as far as the stat sheet. 38 solo tackles, so about 15 less than Hodges. 48 overall tackles. That's about half of where Hodges was. 2 forced fumbles, no picks. And he started 11 games, so just 1 game less. But I believe Hodges played in 15, started 12. Riley started in every game he played in, which was only 11. Again, Dude was coming off the couch. I like Perry Riley. I like the way he plays. He looks like a Raider.
He does. Yeah.
I wouldn't be mad if either of these guys came aboard, but I'm pushing for Hodges. He's 3 years younger. The stats look better. You're going to spend a little bit more for him, but mix it up. Bring him in. Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah, if you had to pick between the two.
I mean, the whole point is we're trying to improve, right? If we're trying to improve the position, then you got to take a chance on Hodges. That's no disrespect to Riley. Like you said, I was impressed with him too. I was like, dude, this dude came off his couch, and he's out there starting day one. Let's do it, man. This is great,
Yeah.
And like you said, he fits the Raiders, man. He looks like a Raider.
Does.
So I'm not mad at him at all. I appreciate everything that he did for us. But if we're trying to improve that position, then we got to start looking for someone else. We can't just be like, okay, let's sign the same guys that we've always had.
Youth and productivity. That's the driving force in the NFL. I mean, it's not far fetched to say that if Riley's still around and when this all pans out or all washes out, that we bring him aboard again for bargain money. That'd be great. But you got to think that he's got some film from last year. Teams are going to be sniffing around this dude.
Yeah.
So shout out to Reggie for finding him last year for bargain price. Another huge get, and thanks again, Washington. You just keep sending players over. So, I mean, we can talk more about free agency positions again next week. We can move on to another position and look at what's available there. But I'm comfortable sitting with the linebacker squad for this week.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right. I think it's, again, our biggest need. Wouldn't be shocked to see us bring in maybe another offensive lineman, which we already did. But yeah, I mean, that's always a position you can bulk up on. You can never have enough bodies rotating on that line. And again, the defensive line, which Raiders have a lot of competition there too. A lot of young bodies, a lot of rotation.
Yeah.
Waiting for somebody to step up and make an impact. A name that's been coming up on the blog a lot is Ball. People saying, oh, Ball's being overlooked. Ball was great against the pass when we had him. He did. He solved our pass coverage issues there for a moment, but then he got hurt. The thing is, I don't think a lot of people know because it's been all quiet on the near on Ball front, is that he's still recovering from injury.
Yeah.
This guy might be done.
Yeah, man. If he's still recovering, it's
Yeah.
getting to that point where you're gonna say, is it time to call it?
Yeah.
You know,
Because he's been out of the league. I mean, if it's again this year, that's going to be 2 years.
was it multiple years? I mean, multiple injuries. Did he get injured, recover, and then get injured? I'm not.
No, I remember it being a head injury of sorts, or I could be confusing that with Mario Edwards' neck injury. But let's see what they say here, because I would really like to see Ball back. I like the way that he played. He looked great against the run, but yeah, he's still out. Let's see what he's got. I'm kind of stalling here, but I don't expect Ball to be back anytime soon. It says here he's got a rare medical condition. See, it's been so long, I can't even remember what happened to dude.
Yeah.
But yeah, he solves a lot of problems for us there, outside linebacker. But
if he's healthy,
he's
you
healthy.
can't play somebody if they're not healthy, and that don't help us at all. That don't improve nothing. So
yeah. So yeah, I can't seem to find it here. I'm blanking out on what exactly his injury is. So my fault for not being prepared. I didn't know I'd get into a Ball discussion, and that's my bad for bringing him up to begin with. Yeah, here it says Ball was on the injury reserve for the duration of 2016 due to an undisclosed injury.
okay.
So I think he has a health condition.
Yeah.
And as far
Well,
as
I mean, you know how it goes, man. Some of these guys that get injured, they go in to get fixed up by the doc, and then they end up finding something else going on with them. Something, some illness, So hopefully that's not the case. Hopefully dude does make it back and he is able to play again. But at this point, he's not serviceable to us. He's not on the field. He's not, he's not taking up that space that we need and playing those down. So, nothing against him.
So here it is right here. He had a knee injury in week 7. I believe that was 2015. That was in October. So he's been out since then. He thought he was on his way back, and then he required another surgery, and we haven't heard from him since then. So I'm sure that's not the full story. I'm sure some of you guys will correct me, and please do. But yeah, Ball, he ain't walking through that door, But we are.
We are.
Because I think that's the end of another podcast for us.
Hey, man. That's a great one.
Any shout-outs you want to give before we get out of here?
Oh, man. Shout-outs? Shout out to you, man.
Hey.
Shout out to you, brother.
Shout out to you. It's all love here in the Crow's
It's
Nest.
all love here, man.
Where we record it's called the Crow's Nest. Yeah, it's pirate themed. We didn't just make that up. That's been the name of the studio for a while. I sit up here, second story. I get to see out everything that's going on. Crow's Nest. You know what it is. I want to give a shout out to everybody on the blog who's been holding it down. It's a slow season, off season. It's quiet right now, but you guys are still on there 24/7. And if you haven't checked us out yet, if you listen to the show, check out the website, pj4f.com. Come for the articles, stay for the comments. You need to get down in that comment section, make yourself a Discuss profile. We got 276 new comments since we started this second segment. It's popping. We got 6,000 comments on this last post. Get in there. We meet up at tailgates. We fly people in from across the country. It's a big community that you're missing out on. We all know what Raider Nation looks like. If you want to see what it really looks like on a day-to-day basis, come over to pj4f.com and join the community. Jump in the fray. Hey, if you're not comfortable, lurk. I lurked for 3 years before I joined and then eventually took over the website.
I'm guilty, man. I'm guilty. I know you've been pushing for me to get on the blog, and I apologize to everyone that's on the blog that's waiting for me to jump on. I promise I will get there. I'm not making any promises as how fast I will get there, but I'm trying to get there.
Got familial obligations right now. That's all I'll say about that. So he gets a pass. He's dealing with a lot. And appreciate all the work that you're doing out there in the community for us too. And we got to keep that all confidential, but trust this man hustles.
Right. And real quick, just, since we do have to keep it all confidential, but a shout out to my boys if they are listening.
You're the real MVP.
I look forward to working with them every day.
David and I are actively raising the next generation of Raider fans the right way. We're helping out. We're out there in the community doing our thing. So, shout out to all you guys out there listening. I miss you. I miss you guys. I used to come in David's sessions there and had a good time. So I remember who you are. And shout out from Kenny Stapler. You will not recognize that name, but there it is. So all right. That's all for this week on the Pillaging Podcast. Again, you can tune in every week on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Stitcher Radio. Join our community at pj4f.com. You can also follow us on Twitter at @PillagingJustForFun. That's @PillagingJust4Fun. And that's it for this week. We out here. Go Raiders.
Peace.